Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on this generator here. It's like a Hyundai 2000 equivalent. It's called a more power. A friend of mine gave me this. I think we're going to probably run into a carburetor problem, so that's mostly what we're going to concentrate on today. And we're probably going to wind up doing an oil change as well. We'll dump out the fuel, put fresh fuel in it when we're ready to test it, and we're going to clean it up and fix it or not. Get our panel removed here. It's got these little snappy things that go in here. It's got 3 of them. Broke that one. 1, 2, 3. You gotta kind of pry on it to get those loose. Anyway, put that aside. Get that back out of the way. There's our carburetor right in there. We're going to eventually get that out. Ah, yes, pop loose. Okay, it looks really clean inside. So here's our carburetor. I'll be taking that off in a minute. I like to use little pliers to get these hoses off. It comes right off. So let's go ahead and remove the carburetor, and maybe that will give us better access to that fuel line. Magnetic screwdriver up against that nut so I don't drop it. There we go, carburetor nut. Let's get this bolt loose. Try not to drop it. Okay, there's that. This loose from here. It should. There we go. Now we got this is the tube that connects the carburetor to the breather. So we'll set that aside. That all looks in good shape. Now here's our carburetor. Got any other bolts holding it? Doesn't appear to. Now we got a hold of that. Now let's see if this will crack loose pretty easily. Yes, there it goes. That should be. Yes, that's loose now. Okay, we got a little dent on the wire where that goes, so we know how to adjust it properly. Okay, looks like we're going to take this side off now. Looks like a Phillips head screw in there. Set to the off position. Oh, that wasn't very tight. Alright, looks like we're getting, oh yeah, we definitely got somewhere now. Oh, look at there. Okay, maybe we can just kind of lay this over. Maybe. Okay, we got our tank loose. But we do have to get the choke cable loose. Don't fall. Yes. Okay, now, hopefully, we didn't miss anything. Oh, so careful with all these things. It's so easy to break something or mess something up. All right. Okay, well there's our carburetor and our fuel tank. This is what we're mostly concerned with today. So we'll come back and we'll take this apart and fix it or not. Well, here we are at the bench. Let's see if we can get this thing taken apart and cleaned up and put back together, and hopefully it's going to work properly. So the first thing we want to do is going to tell the tale, really, is to remove the float bowl. So we already got a problem. Our gasket is kind of messed up. We'll probably have to make a new one. Absolutely. Smells like rotten gas. See if we can get the bowl loose. I usually just kind of tap on it. I just heard it tap loose. Hopefully it doesn't have a whole lot of gas in it that we're going to make a huge mess with. Oh, that's good. Okay, so let's have a look. There's a good bit of junk in there, but the good thing is, so far it doesn't look corroded. That's all loose, so we can clean that out. Now let's remove our float. And have a look at our needle valve. Well, that wants to be stubborn, doesn't it? Ah, it wants to go that way. Okay, that's probably good enough. There's our float and our needle valve. I don't have a kit for this or anything, so we're just going to clean up everything we got here. And it looks like that needle is going to be fine. So we'll set that down. This actually looks pretty good. I think we're going to get away with just cleaning this up the best we can and then put it back together, and it should be fine. So let's see what else we can go ahead and disassemble on this. I don't know if there's much we can take apart. Probably got a jet or two we can pull out. Oh, that fits nice. Now, we're going to carefully get that screwdriver centered on that jet, and we're going to try to crack it loose without, there we go, without breaking it. Okay, there it goes. It's loose. Set that down. Now, what other things can we get out of there? There's usually a jet or something down inside there. Yep, you can see it down in there. Now, let's see if we can get it loose. That's not going to work. Sometimes you just got to leave it and use your carburetor cleaner and do the best you can. Really don't want to disassemble it any more than I absolutely have to. I know that this motor right here is what controls the throttle as the generator gets more load on it. So there is adjustment to that. So we're going to do our best to just leave that be. We have some kind of a jet here. We'll just spray through that with carburetor cleaner and make sure that the stuff comes out some other place. So next step is to clean it. Clean our little float and our needle valve. Careful we don't launch it somewhere where we can't find it. Just kind of spray all over it and get the junk off of it. Now we're going to come to the actual carburetor itself. We're just going to take the cleaner, poke in all the little holes, and spray it, and it should shoot out somewhere else. It's coming out right there. That looks good. Now let's go the other way and see what happens. Oh yeah, it seems to be shooting out there pretty good. Now we'll shoot it in here. That should come out somewhere else, probably in there. Yep. And any little holes you see, just stick the straw in there and shoot it. That's coming out somewhere else. Okay. Then there was one little jet on the top here. Spray it in there. It seems to be clear. Other than that, it's pretty clean. I think we'll just pretty much let it go. At that point, put it back together, see if it's fixed or not. Okay, well, let's reassemble this thing real quick. We've cleaned all of our jets and our bowl is nice and clean, and we put a new hose on there. That's just the drain hose. And we got this one little jet that we were actually able to remove easily. So we know it's clean. That'll be the first thing we reassemble. Oops. Careful not to drop your jet. They're hard to find. So it goes, let me get this wire out of the way. It goes right. That little hole right there. They're hard to get started. Certainly don't want to cross it. Okay, there it goes. It started. So let's tighten it up. Now this looks like a ridiculously large screwdriver, but it fits the slot really nice. So in it goes. Oops. And then you just want to make sure it's snug. It just doesn't turn anymore. Okay, that's that. Now all we need to do is install our needle and float. We have to move our pin all the way out of the way. The gasket's in the way. We're trying to preserve our gaskets here. So you want to put the needle, that little guy right there, into that hole right there. You can kind of see it going in there. Now we're going to kind of hold that in position. We're still fighting this gasket here with our little pin, so we're going to pull that back just a little bit. Hopefully our float is about where it's supposed to be, and this pin will go home. Yes, Success. Oops, sorry about that. And just push that till it extends out the other side right there. Then that's all done. Now the carburetor is all reassembled except for the float bowl and the retaining nut. So we'll set that down for just a moment. Now the gasket for this retaining nut tore when I took it apart, so I made another one out of a piece of heavy cardboard. It's actually the back of like a notepad. So it fits really, really nice. So we're going to screw that all the way down on this nut. Make sure it's seated all the way at the end of our nut there. Okay, most important part about this gasket is that it seals this area right in there. The fact that it extends beyond the nut is no big deal. Okay, so now we want to make sure that we get a good seal right here and right in here. That's the original gasket in there. It still looks okay. It's always a risk using the original gaskets, but it seems to be okay. So what we're going to do to try to make sure that we don't leave anything to chance, we're going to take a little bit of Scotch-Brite, the brown stuff. Always make sure you use the brown stuff for a situation like this. And we're going to take our float bowl and just kind of turn it in a few circles. To make sure that this is nice and smooth, doesn't have any old gasket stuck to it or anything. And we want to make sure we don't have any burrs around here, so we'll just take this and kind of go around like so. And then lastly, we want to kind of buff this where that gasket is going to seat. Not too much, just make sure it's clean and smooth. Okay, now we're ready for reassembly. We'll take our nut with our new washer. Get it started. Then 10 millimeter. Now we're going to set this down. A nice hard flat surface. Put some pressure on it so we can hold it in place. Then just get this tight. Doesn't have to be super tight, just tight. That's pretty tight. So we know we've compressed our washer, and hopefully we've made a good seal around the bowl and the carburetor body. All right, next step is to reinstall it, put some gas in it, and see if it's fixed or not. Okay, let's see if we can get this thing put back together, see if it's fixed or not. Yes, success. Okay, that's back on. Now, we got to reattach our choke. Seems to work. smoothly. This is probably going to be the toughest part of the whole deal, getting this thing right back on exactly where it's supposed to be. It's got little knobs that go into two little rubber grommets right there and there, little pointy knobs. This snorkel thing that attaches to the air box. Oops. Pretty good. Now we got two 10mm bolts, excuse me. Hold our carburetor on. Again, none of this needs to be super tight, but it's got to be snug. Off. Okay. Let's put a little fuel in it. See if it'll start. Let's give it a try. Well, there you have it, folks. We fixed another one. If you got any questions or anything about this, just put them in the comments. If you like this kind of thing, please like and subscribe to my channel. And again, thank you for watching.